So the Democrats are actually in the same sort of place as Britain's Labour Party at the moment, which is they don't really know what they're going to do, and they don't really know what their options are. The platform that they have, or have had up until this point, is just really unpopular. And the technique of politics that they employ allows basically deceitful, incompetent people to rise to the very top of their ranks and completely stuff it up, and allow a charismatic and sincere Republican opponent to completely steal the ground from them and win everything, as Trump has demonstrated. And so they don't really know what to do. And so, as CNN point out here, right at the bottom, the important point, the most buried of leads, infighting continues in the Democrats. Good news for me, because I'm a Trump supporter. But they say that the DNC leaders, because remember, David Hogg, the anti-gun nut, has been elected as the vice chair, and he is insisting on primarying a bunch of Democrats who are, well, not radical left-wingers, basically, is the issue. And this split in the Democrat Party is one that happened in the Labour Party and resulted in the election of Keir Starmer. He literally kicked Jeremy Corbyn out of the Labour Party and purged all the radical leftists. So the Labour Party now is a lot more centrist, and the Democrat Party is on the horns of this dilemma. Do they lean into being radical leftists, or do they purge the woke types and return to something that resembles the centre ground? And this is the issue before the Democrats, the decision they've got to make. And so you've got lots of articles like this from The Hill. It's like, there's infighting that's akin to a kind of civil war from Speaker Kevin McCarthy. And he's right. This is going to be a civil war, because in the wake of a resounding defeat, one has to establish exactly why the defeat came about. And if the defeat came about because either the party was too centrist or the party was too woke and the platform didn't appeal to the vast majority of American voters, well, that has to be decided. Now, the answer is, of course, the party was way too woke. And the opponent was too strong. So, unsurprisingly, it's going to be a battle between these two factions. And the woke aren't going to say, you know what, guys, I think we did it. Yeah, I know we're insane communist lunatics who want to trans every child that didn't get aborted. But, I think it might be us. I think actually the public aren't actually as radically left-wing as we are, and we're going to take a back seat here. That's not what they think. They genuinely are high on their own supply. They genuinely think that if we were just more communist, the American public go, you're right, the Cold War never happened. I do like communism, good point. And that's obviously not the case, but they're not going to accept it because they are dyed-in-the-wool ideologues. So anyway, I found this on ABC News and who's running in 2028. And I tell you what, man, no good options. Absolutely no good options. So the first one is Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, a Democrat, who said he would consider running if he felt he was someone who could unite the country. Now, I don't know anything about this chap, so I can't comment on him, but he looks normal. And that's a good start. Looking normal is a very, very good start. Just looking like you're not an insane freak is a great start. And he sounds quite reasonable here. If you'd asked me a couple of years ago, I'd say no, but I don't want to leave a broken country for my kids. And so if I'm someone who can bring this nation together, hopefully find common ground, it's something I'll consider. Very reasonable, normal statement. And then you've got someone like this, who doesn't look normal, right? This is Maryland Governor Wesmore. Looks kind of slimy to me. Don't know. I'm just saying the first impression. Again, I don't know anything about him. I didn't do any research looking into him, and I'm not going to, because he said he's not running. But looks vain, right? Like, this guy looks normal. This guy looks vain. Just saying. And these things matter, man. These things matter. So the former Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo said that she is going to run. The Democratic Party has huge amounts of work to do. Introspection. Where do we go wrong? What's our platform going to be? What's our tactics going to be? All fair. She is a former venture capitalist, so she's on the right of the Democrat Party, and the kind of tactics they're going to use against her. And of course, the infamous Tim Walz, who I'm sure is a lovely chap, but says that he is absolutely not going to run because, of course, he wouldn't be any good. And so the Democrats kind of kicking around going, great. Terrible selection that we have. Most people don't seem to want it because who wants to get a good solid kick in the teeth? maybe Harris? Maybe we're gonna run Kamala Harris again because she can, obviously, and she's not like ancient, and she won't be ancient then. So could do. How much worse could it get? And I mean, I personally wouldn't, because I don't know, man. I just don't think she was a strong candidate because she doesn't seem to want to be president. And even if she did, I mean, what would she do apart from cackle at people and not know anything about things? So I can't say that a Kamala Harris run is a very good idea. And the thing is, you're going to have the sort of dyed-in-the-wool Democrat strategists, like, what's that? James Carville. You know, people like that just pulling their hair out at this point. Like, the Republicans have got a lot of stuff lined up. Like, they've got a lot of potential people in the Trump cabinet who, after Trump retires, can step up and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go for it. Like, Marco Rubio has been a surprising dark horse in the Trump administration, getting a lot of good things done. And maybe I'll do a video just entirely on what Marco Rubio has done and where, you know, the surprise that this has come out as. Because as far as I could tell back in 2016, little Marco Rubio, was just a basic bitch rhino Republican, right? No one thought anything of Marco Rubio, or at least I didn't. And, you know, the public perception was just a rhino, right? And he's come out hard for Trump. He is, I don't know if he's had a road to Damascus conversion, but he has come out hard. And so Rubio looks good to me at the moment. But also, of course, you have Vance, who has been doing, I think, a spectacular job. Generally, he's a great communicator. And you've got a bunch of other people around Trump who are probably also very good. So the Republicans actually look like they have a kind of machine building that is producing and drawing in, like, I mean, Tulsi Gabbard's another great choice. Like RFK, I mean, he might be a bit too old by that point, but Tulsi Gabbard would be another solid choice, probably. And whether you personally are like, oh, I don't like Tulsi, the next Democrat, or whatever, like, the issue is whether the United States, the public, are into her, right? And I think that maybe, you know, a good campaign could do well with Tulsi. But anyway, the point being, there are lots of actual potential competent people that you could see doing it. Whereas the Democrats are just like, right, maybe we'll run Kamala again, guys. How might that go? Oh, that's going to go terrible. Everything she does is terrible. She's fucking incompetent. Stop it. She's obviously being propped up by the machine, right? That's the thing. She's just compliant to the machine, and that's not helpful. So they've got their options, and of course, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has some virtues. She is youthful. She is good looking, and she is charismatic. She is a superb speaker, and she speaks very, very well to her audience. The problem is, I think she's going to encounter the same problem that Jeremy Corbyn had, which is everyone knows you're a fucking communist. Nobody wants to elect a communist. And so and this is the problem that Jeremy Corbyn had, because he's a very charismatic guy, he's a good speaker, very friendly, personable, but everyone knows that he just basically hates Britain. And that's how people are going to feel about AOC, because she spends all of her time basically being a communist online. And so on the doorstep, you're going to get, yeah, okay, I like this idea, but I'm not voting for a communist. And so the support AOC gets from her base is very, very strong. They are very much infatuated with her. However, that's going to max out at about a third of the American public. And everyone else is going to be just, no, I don't want this controversial, divisive, highly inflammatory communist as a candidate. I'm not voting for that. And if the Republicans are just sensible and run someone decent like Vance, for instance, someone who can challenge her rhetorically, then I think they'll do a fine job. Because the problem is her platform, like the Green New Deal and all this revolutionary nonsense, not good. And so the Democrats' other option is, of course, the American psycho himself, Gavin Newsom. Now, Gavin Newsom has some strengths. He's an old white businessman, which plays well in America. He hasn't done a great job in California, so don't know what the options there are. But he is prepared to basically move the party to the right. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, of course, represents that faction of the Democrats that want to move it to the left. Now, as someone who supports the Republicans at this point, I would like AOC to win. And I would like her to move the party radically to the left to make it totally unelectable. However, Newsom would do something more reasonable and move the party back to the centre, which probably would make it more appealing. However, Newsom has his drawbacks as well. He's not charismatic, frankly. he's kind of creepy. He looks kind of like a lizard wearing human skin. And that's how he comes across when he's in conversation and when he's in interviews. And so he can work fine in the Democratic machine, which is just an extended patronage network. So you're saying to the Democrat patron communities, oh, hey, yeah, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you that, I'm going to give you the other, and you can rely on me for essentially basic competent governance, right? That's fine, but I'm not sure that that's actually what most people want. But I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Newsome wins over the average sort of swing voter. Maybe, I don't know. I would be surprised, frankly. I would genuinely be surprised if Newsome could like out-charm the American public than a Vance or, you know, Tulsi Gabbard or whoever, you know. Like, I would be surprised. But Newsome is a sort of patriarchal straight white man who looks competent and sounds competent. So maybe that will count for a lot come 2028. Because, of course, the circumstances, the political situation might be quite different in 4 years. So who knows? But the point being is that essentially the Democrats don't really have any good options. And it seems that these two are the best that they have. And both of them come with drawback and baggage. So, I mean, one thing that's important to remember and this goes to all Democratic politics, is basically the front candidate, the leading candidate, has to seem likable, right? Again, I will use an example from Britain. Keir Starmer is only in charge because Nigel Farage came in and body-blowed the Conservatives. If Reform had not run at the last election, the Conservatives would have won another 5 years in office. And we can see that from just all the polling. If you were just to add the Reform and Conservative vote together, and the Reform literally was slicing the Conservative vote almost down the middle, it would have been a Conservative landslide because everyone hates Keir Starmer. He's completely unlikable. Even though he comes across as very competent, he's got no charisma whatsoever. And it's not even that he's got Newsome sort of slimy, repulsive feeling to him. He just feels like a robot and nobody likes him. But because Nigel Farage came in and body-blowed the Conservatives, we have a Labour government with an overwhelming majority, almost historic majority. And finally, you have Pete Buttigieg, who is actually leading in the Democrat primary field. When polled, Democrats would rather vote for him than anyone else. The problem is he's got a similar problem to AOC, which is it's not that he's seen as radical leftist. He's just not representative of the American public. What do the American public want to vote for? Is it a gay man in a partnership who have adopted surrogate children? I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who are automatically put off by that. But again, maybe, and the Democrats have got to pick from the best of a bad bunch. He is, at least to his credit, a really good talker. But there are some things you can't talk your way through, and fundamental issues like that might be one of them. I don't know, though, and this is all, very speculative, because who knows what the situation is going to be in 2028. I mean, some rising star might come through the Democrat Party and just be the obvious choice, and they'll just go, okay, look, the rest of you suck. We're just going to go for this guy, and one of you can be his running mate or something like that.